necessarily viewed as a good thing either. Since, most proposals are not funded, but anyway,
It was the,
what can I say? There's our colleagues. Okay.
We have a new colleague? Are you good? I'm gonna unmute. Okay, Madam Chair, we're ready.
Okay. Will, Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of March 6, 2024, please come to order. First thing I'd like to do is introduce our new member, Commissioner Maxwell. Have your name written down. I know it's 2 R's. Maxwell Caroon.
Nailed
Am I
it.
pronouncing it?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you could just say a few words about
Nice,
yourself.
nice to meet everyone. I live here in Madison, of course, off of Neck Road. Moved here about 3.5 years ago. My wife grew up here and her parents still live here. So I live 0.8 miles from my in-laws, which is fun. But I have 2 young kids, lived in New York for 10 years and had the opportunity to move out to Madison with COVID and work from home, and have gotten to know the town very well the last few years and plan on living here for 20 years and want to be involved in the community more, and had an opportunity to join the P&Z and excited to be here.
Great, thanks. So Max is an alternate, but I would like to seat you tonight because we have a couple of vacancies. Our full commissioners who are not present. So you'll be able to vote and participate in everything.
So
We also have one public hearing on our agenda tonight. So I just want to take a few minutes to review the public hearing process. During the public hearing, the applicant will be invited to present the application, explaining to the commission and others present what is being requested. The applicant or staff will share all application materials on the screen as needed. I see you also brought orders. That's great. Comments of town agencies will be read for each application. If there are any, there will be clarifying questions from the commissioners first. Then there will be an opportunity for clarifying questions from attendees. For Zoom attendees, please raise your hand through the Zoom platform and wait to be called on and unmuted. As this public hearing must be recorded, attendees will state their names and addresses before asking for questions. Next, those who wish to support the application may come forward, and then those who oppose the application may come forward. Again, it is necessary for speakers to identify themselves each time by stating their names and addresses. The applicant will then have an opportunity to address any questions or concerns raised by the public and the commissioners. Once the public hearing is closed, the applicant is free to leave or remain for the balance of the regular meeting, during which the commission will try to reach a decision on each application. Each applicant will be notified in writing as to the decision of this commission and has a right to appeal to the Superior Court if desired. Decisions of this meeting are available the day after the meeting by calling the Land Use Department at 203-245-5631 after 9 a.m. All actions taken tonight by the commission will be by roll call. All commissioners and staff will identify themselves for the recording before speaking. Seated this evening are members, I'm going to go in alphabetical order: Mike Bogda, Maxwell Caroon, John Duza, Bob O'Connor here via Zoom, Janet Peckinpah on Zoom, Bob Reinhardt, our vice chair, and myself, Carol Snow, chair. Staff present this evening is Aaron Mannix, town planner. The meeting is live streamed on YouTube and will be made available on the town website for viewing. Additionally, I would like to ask that we treat each other respectfully throughout the meeting, and a reminder to please turn off your cell phones. The town planner will now read the legal notice. Aaron.
Sure, thank you. Notice is hereby given that the Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, March 6, 2025, beginning at 7 p.m. in Meeting Room A, Town Campus, 8 Campus Drive, Madison, Connecticut. This is a hybrid meeting, and attendees may also join via Zoom webinar through either the webinar link or call-in information below. The webinar ID is 915-8196-6735. Password is 452138. Call-in number is 646-558-8656. The following application will be heard: 25-04, 665 Boston Post Road, 667 Boston Post Road, and Boston Post Road, tax ID map 38, lot 88-1. inclusive, it's map 38, lots 88, 89, and 88-1. The zones are downtown district and downtown water restriction district. The owner is Madison Hose Company 1, Inc. The applicant is the town of Madison. It's a special exception permit modification per section 6.2.2.2I and a downtown village district major alteration per section 30.4.1A to demolish existing buildings at 677 Boston Post Road, merge parcels, and construct two-story addition for the expansion of the existing fire station for additional apparatus bay and second floor municipal emergency operations center. This includes site improvements of septic system and minor regrading of the existing driveway. Copies of this application are available for inspection in the land use office. Further details on how to participate in the webinar are posted on the Town of Madison website, www.madisonct.org. All written correspondence can be submitted to the Land Use Department via email to landuse@madisonct.org. Dial 203-245-5631 for assistance. Dated at Madison, Connecticut, the 7th day of February 2025, Carol Snow, Chair. This published once in the source on February 20th and once on February 27th.
Thank you, Erin. Could I have a motion to open the public hearing? John, second. Bob Reinhardt. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, public hearing is open. We invite the applicant.
Good evening, Jim Preddy, Cristallo Engineering, 420 East Main Street in Branford, Connecticut. Representing the town of Rose Company One, this project. This is the existing conditions plan that I have on the board here. The yellow is the outline of the existing building, and the red is the three parcels that were mentioned in the opening, 665, 677, and the unnumbered parcel back. Texas Pond back here.
Karen, can you pull this up on the screen as well?
Yep, I'm getting it.
The proposal, as stated, is to expand the existing firehouse and merge the parcels. Variances were granted back in December to allow this addition shown in orange here next to the existing building. The two little buildings that were on the existing conditions plan will be removed. The new addition shown in orange here and a new stair tower back here. Again, that's fine. So as part of the variance application, one of the requirements was the parcels be merged. The health department, the same requirement. So as soon as the little buildings are demolished, the parcels can be merged. So together, it's a 22,574 plus or minus square feet. I say plus or minus because the property line is the edge of the pond, which is actually a concrete wall along the edge. Existing gravel driveway to remain. There's a couple of areas here that are not currently gravel because there's a turnout, but because there's a door, the vehicles will be able to come around and drive in and drive out. So that's the only really gravel expansion on the site plan. We do have a utility plan showing the septic system. We have a new fire service coming on the side of the building and the gas service, which has to be relocated because of the demolition in this area. The septic system has been already approved by your health department. These other two items here are a oil water separator and holding tank for the floor drains in the building. The grading in this back parking lot is very minimal, just a few inches to get the necessary cover over the septic system, but it will remain gravel. It's really it in a nutshell. I guess I'll take any site-related questions at this point. I'm going fast.
Any questions from commissioners? We know you have another meeting to get to.
There are others here that can answer some of these questions.
Thanks, we appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you jumped right up. I was going to give a little bit of introduction and color if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, that's fine.
While you guys are formulating your site questions, my name is Ben Whitaker. I'm the construction manager for the town of Madison and Madison Public Schools. Welcome to Maxwell. You get seated on your first night. That's cool.
Thanks.
So this is just a little bit of background on this project. This is a collaboration between Madison Host Company number 1 and the town of Madison. And kind of how this came to fruition, obviously EOC is in the mutual benefit of the host company and the town. But somewhat more importantly is the funding came from FEMA, for partial funding for this project came from a FEMA grant, it's about $2.5 million. And the municipality is the only one that's able to receive that money. So though the host company owns the property, we're their development partner in this to build a structure that is both needed space for the fire department. They have apparatus bays below and builds out the new EOC facility on top and also some improvements with how those two buildings connect together. So we brought this project both informally and formally to ACCA. Had a really good positive working experience with them. They had some really good suggestions that we're able to build into the design. This is being done as a very cost-conscious build. We went into this with a budget that we knew was really borderline to accomplish all the goals. So we tried to go in kind of as austere as we could. To help us in that process, through an RFP process, we contracted with Munger Construction, who is here tonight. They are the design builder on this job. We're in the pre-construction phase with them. And what the value that Munger brought to this is they have hired a slate of design professionals to design the building, but also they're staying on top of the cost estimating and kind of keeping that project in check with an eye to a constructor's eye throughout the process. To kind of give us the best value for our dollar here. So while it is an addition on the old building, it's essentially building a building that's touching it. One of the suggestions ACCA had that we thought was pretty cool was actually setting the building back only a brick length. Doesn't sound like much, just a couple inches, but it actually does give a little bit of visual separation. Should look really cool. Good blend and a good blending into the downtown area in general. So a project that we're definitely excited about. It's been great. This is my first kind of collaboration with the host company. They're excited, we're excited, and hopefully you are too to bring this to downtown. So that's the non-technical explanation.
Great, thanks.
One other thing I guess we should add is that this was approved also by the wetland.
In the
commission.
wetlands, yeah, we saw that. Great, thanks.
I had 2 questions, kind of thanks for the staff report, so I answered most of the questions, but from that I have 2 almost typical clarifications. First one is, no state that the stormwater infiltration was removed
That's right.
because of the proximity to the septic. Was there a stormwater catch basin before?
No.
No, okay, so this was proposed to be.
I think that's why this area has been gravel.
Where did the existing plain floor drains drain into now?
So that's actually unknown at this point. But when they get digging into this, we're gonna make every effort to connect them to the new well water separator. That was one of the comments. They didn't make it as a condition, but that was one of the comments as well.
And then the other one was the water usage for the water restriction overlay district. I'm not quite sure the way it's worded is that the allowable amount is 700 gallons per day, and that the proposed water usage for the building is 386, using the water usage records. So 386 projected amount, or is that the historical amount?
That's with the addition.
That's with the addition.
Okay.
That's the total design.
Projected, yeah.
And the water use kind of came from the direct well.
Okay, and then just my own understanding, when they talk gallons per day, is that like a max per day, or is that average over the course of a year?
That's an average.
Okay.
Over, I think we use 4-year average.
Okay.
4 peak quarters over 4 years.
Got it. Okay, cool. That's it. Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? We open it up to, or do you have other presentations?
Of the building itself?
Yeah,
Are you gonna do, anyone going to show the renderings?
the elevation.
We can do it. I wasn't expecting to do it. Yeah. Do you have it? Do you have the rendering?
Oh, sure.
Oh, you have it? Okay, let's say it's on there. What would it be?
Yeah, we have. I just have to find.
My name is Mark McDonald, and I work with Silver Petroselli Architects. We're the architects who are working under Munger Construction.
I have the drawings.
Janet and Bob, can you hear us okay?
A little bit. Okay.
Not great. But
Louder.
Carol, I must tell you now, I need to recuse myself from any vote on this tonight because my son is a new member of the Madison Hose Company.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. His name is not Peckinpah, by the way. It's Gerson.
The renderings, I was looking for the floor plan, but we can do the renderings. It's fine.
It's at the end of another.
I know. At least we can do the renderings. At least that will speak to the design of the buildings.
There we go.
So basically from the end to there, that is the existing condition. 3 fire bays, a fire apparatus bays, and a repair bay. This is our building. Because we're going to be serving some new apparatus, which tends to be larger and growing, it pushed our ceiling up a couple feet above where the existing ceilings are. So our second floor does not align with the existing floor. And what it really do wish we had some help. I do have some small plans.
You want the floor plan, you mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can pull them up as well.
So the height of the new structure is just slightly higher than the barber shop next door, I think.
Oh, hold on a second. Let me stop sharing.
Yes. It's under the zoning
Yeah.
required 30 feet maximum.
Right.
But it does approach it.
That's the revised.
The existing, I believe, is 25 and change. But so the new floor is 15 feet plus or minus. The existing floor is about 13 plus or minus. So we needed to connect the existing second floor to our new second floor. Our new second floor is offices, conference room, and the Emergency Operations Center, which is the hub of the reason to construct this. So this basically becomes, the stripe here ends up becoming the transition from the existing building to the new building. Up a few stairs here, but because we're required to have handicapped access to the second floor, both the second floors, we are introducing an elevator. So from the ground floor over here, from the first floor, front and back, you can get to our second floor, which has elevator openings on both. Thank you. Both on this side and
There's
this
so many
side.
boxes.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And we needed a secondary egress because this room has more than 50 foot. In addition, the condition of the existing exit stair that's here, which serves the deck and this assembly room here, was not in great condition and really was undercover. So we are introducing a new one, also a path to it that includes guardrails, so much safer.
Yeah, we can see that
egress.
in one of the elevations, I think, one has the different sides.
We're serving the street with a brick and precast concrete facade that, as Ben mentioned, was approved by ACA with their recommendation. They approved it pretty warmly too. It seemed to like it. And we also have, because we know that there is a face to the pond behind, we also treated this very similarly to the way we treated the front side. The footprint is basically the bare minimum we could do with the functions that we have in the building. So it serves a volunteer fire department that doesn't have no bunks. It's strictly for service and the meetings of the fire department and training and emergencies in the EOC. And is it currently a location for EOC type meetings? Does it exist?
So it's here,
It
but
doesn't
there's no,
exist.
In the
dedicated-
Hammonasset room over there, we have to set it up.
no dedicated space.
Okay, there's no dedicated base. So this is a new space in the town.
Great, thanks. Any questions? for the architect? No? Looks good. Thanks. Anyone else presenting or is that it? That's it? Okay. There are no other questions from commissioners. We can open it up to the public. If anyone has any questions. State your name and address, please.
Sure, Joan Horton, my shop is at 690 Boston Post Road, and my home is at 28 Hamblin Way, Madison. So it was very difficult to hear you. But my shop is across the street from the fire department, and it's very sad to see two businesses being torn down, two lovely little buildings that are going to be gone. And I love the fire department. I love that, you know, that we're a volunteer and we do amazing things. I tend to kind of disagree with that this is going to create a very new visual that's very appealing to the town. I have a really hard time seeing brick on brick on brick. I also, you know, Susan Powell's gallery and the barber shop are right next door. And from your drawing, it looked like you have to go sideways in order to get into the back. We have a beautiful pond that's back there that I believe we spent a lot of money creating a walkway that goes around it so people can enjoy it. There's the little sprout, I mean, it's just a wonderful little place that no one's gonna know it exists anymore. When the other shops were there, they used to use it. I mean, to just go over there and see the sun setting over there is quite extraordinary. And we now have an entranceway into Madison that has that prefab piece that makes no sense from a visual perspective to what the town looks like, to brick, and then a higher building with different colored brick is what I saw from the design, and then another brick to the building next door. I tend to question why the choice of changing the color of the brick when the buildings are connected but not connected. This is something that is going to remain for a long time in town, and for me, it's changing the culture of the town. It just moves everything to RJ and the movie theater, but the rest of the town is like a drive-through, sadly. I mean, we had done lots of advertising and promotion. There's so many articles being designed and written about Madison right now. The tourists are coming to town in a way that they never did before, which also sadly creates Friday afternoon traffic as a lot of accidents that happen on the highway. And so in the middle of town on a Friday afternoon in the summertime, the fire department goes out. The sounds happen and people jump. I mean, people jump in town. It just feels like we've added another level of another truck, another fire truck coming in. It's bigger and harder to get it out of the garage. And how do you go to the right? How do you get it back in? What does it do to the traffic flow of the town? Besides just visually. And it just feels like there should be a little bit more thought from the town, since we are supporting it and funding it, that, you know, we already have the academy sitting there. And it's a shame that that is sitting there costing money all the time. And now we're spending money on the fire department. It just feels like it might be time to just rethink where we're spending all of our money, and maybe there would be a better use of how we design it. Or is it really necessary if it's not attached? And I couldn't tell what the inside of it looked like. There was an article in the New Haven Register, just as an aside, that said, you needed more showers after the fires to come in, and there, I don't know if that's built in there or not, but there was an article in the Register. Anyway, I think I'm the only person in town coming. I'm not quite sure how much this has been promoted. I think if you ask people, they really do not know that this is happening. And I just want to make that known and question it. So thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Anyone online, Erin?
No one has their hand raised. And we have no,
Okay, no other
unless there's,
questions or comments? Any other?
Well, I would ask, how is that, I hadn't thought about the access to the pond. I'd ask how access to the pond is going to be maintained. Or will it be cut off and just be sitting back there? I'm not familiar with going back there, so.
the hose company owns the property. It's private property,
Okay.
as are other properties. There are no public easements
Okay.
to go on the property.
I mean, there is the
For
walkway that
viewing
goes
that.
around.
It is, I mean, it is an emergency,
No, I know.
you know,
It's just
a safety facility.
something I hadn't
Um,
thought about, 'cause I don't.
The Texas Walkway is public access, and then there's other opportunities off of Brookside
And then none of that's gonna
as
change.
well.
Most of, but there are a lot of private properties around it.
Yeah.
Which is part of the problem, and there's no water access for kayaks or
Yeah, I know.
boarders or anything, which maybe someday we can have, would be great. But I don't think this site is necessarily the best place for that either, or it's just not an option.
No, there's no requirement in the regulations, as it's not a coastal zone, like a coastal application would require public access. Those were part of the original vision of the Bradley Road vision study of opening up that center. It is a unique feature in
It
town
is.
to have
And it's clean
the
now.
pond.
I remember when
Not
the
sure
dry
about
cleaners
that.
dumped into it.
I'm not sure about that.
You would
It
not.
does have a
stick your
history.
toe in it at that point.
I don't think it's that clean.
I know there's sort of a gel on the bottom, I think, but anyway, it's a good point though, that, you know, there's this gem of a pond in the middle of town and it's kind of not seen.
I did add in my staff reports, this is a downtown village district, major alteration, so you do have, you do have, authority over design and review, and there are design standards. There are also, there's language in the standards that speaks to municipal or fire stations specifically, and that they may not be able to follow all of the design standards as
And
a private.
Some of the
development.
design too recommends materials, and brick is definitely one of the materials that they recommend. In keeping with some of the harmony of the other brick structures, although you're right, we're losing these two, I think they're like early 1900s sort of cottage wood structures. And my thought was it would be great if someone could move them rather than, you know, just have them demolished, but I don't know if that would ever happen. We haven't seen it
Do you
yet.
have room on your property?
Yeah, they would be great as accessory dwelling units. But again, it's not really up to us to make that determination.
The demolition in the downtown village district, demolition of structures is considered a major alteration. So that is part of your purview in
I see.
review.
Yeah,
So you
and I
do,
think it's still,
that's why it's included
does
in
it
the
still go to the
application.
Historic District Commission as well? Because they're older than 60 years.
So under the demolition delay ordinance,
Right.
the application for a demolition permit with the building department triggers a delay. And
Right.
that triggers a notification of
Right,
historic district, Charlotte Everett's, there's a list.
yeah,
And that process has already been initiated. And I believe those
Yeah.
referrals have been made.
maybe pending this meeting too.
Right, no demolition can occur until after the DVD review occurred by the commission, but the other step under the building code and that demolition delay, that has been.
Right, so not only is it the DVD, the downtown village district, it's also along the scenic, the scenic route goes through. So,
The scenic road, yes.
scenic road, yeah,
But that doesn't affect private properties.
Right.
That's only improvements in the right of way.
any other questions or comments for the applicant?
What's the timing for demolition and construction?
Right now, we're hoping to build this fall.
Oh, it start this fall?
So the fall, finishing sometime winter, spring right now. That's still that's a goal, not definite at this point.
Of course.
We still got to do things on the funding end once the regulatory approvals are secured, hopefully. And we're right now, we're in design development phase, so we still have construction phase. We're in the estimating process right now, so there's a little bit to get us to construction.
So it wouldn't affect the busy season in Madison?
No, we wouldn't be building this summer.
Yeah.
By the time we're moving, it's gonna be fall.
Right, that's the off season, yeah.
This is Joan Horton, 28 Canborn Way. That is the height of the fall season, the leaves, Halloween, all the things that go on in town. The fall is very much a big tourist time.
Sorry, if I was confusing, I was talking about the peak season in Madison. It's
The
just
peak
gonna be-
season is from May to
Right.
November.
And you're not worried about losing FEMA?
Well, that's one of the reasons we have to build
That's
now
kind
is
of
our grant
Yeah.
is end spring. It's either March or May, once the state, because the money's funneling from FEMA through the state. And I can't remember which is which, but it's either March or May. That was 26, we have to build by.
Yeah, it's beginning of period of performance of March 30, 26.
And that's one of the reasons we procured through design build is to move this and get construction started. What was the total timeline for construction from shovel on the ground to ready? Do you remember that?
I always had, do I need to introduce myself?
Yes, please.
Sorry, I was on the spot.
David DeMayo, president of Munger Construction, 750 East Main Street, Branford, Connecticut. We have a 10 to 12 month timeline for construction of this building. Obviously, once we have approvals and drawings and things of that nature, we will do our best to shorten that, within reason, without obviously jeopardizing quality. Having our eye on the grant expiration date.
Other questions or?
Oh, question. What's the extra equipment that will go in the extra bays?
Big
Is that-
stuff.
And how often would that be used compared to what's used now?
Or Sandy, you want to talk about that one?
Okay, so Sam DeBurn, currently the emergency management director for the town of Madison, as well as the fire marshal and director of operations and member of Madison Post Company. So currently now, our ladder truck that's in the current firehouse is like about 3 inches from the seal. So that would get moved over. And then one of the new pumpers that's coming, it's coming in 26.
Yeah.
The new pumper coming next year, that would go into the new addition as well. So go backing in and out of the firehouse is gonna be the same as it is now. It's gonna be moved down a little bit. And even when they redid the center face for the islands, when he did the design, he allowed for this ramp to go in so that, he had the median at that point, he didn't bring it down. So going in and out shouldn't be any different. And they were,
Is it even that you're going around the back?
so just the small trucks would go around the back. And then the other thing was, so out of the back, some of these smaller trucks, if you went into the firehouse now, it's like you have to turn sideways, walk in between the apparatus. You got the small Zodiac boat, the UTV, everything's all cramped in between each other in the bays. So that stuff would just get spread out over the firehouse.
Is the new ladder that you guys got a couple of years ago, does that have, I would assume, a better turning radius than the old ones, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions? Janet or Bob? Oh, Janet, you've recused yourself. Bob, any questions from Washington?
Can't hear you.
You're on mute.
I have a lot of questions, but not about this endeavor.
I'll be careful how I phrase that next time. Thank you, Carol. If there are no other questions, then I think we can close the public hearing and move to deliberations. Can I have a motion to do so?
I'll provide a motion.
Thank you, Mike. Becca, a second. Thank you. The discussion. Favor. Deliberations. So we move to deliberations and discuss among ourselves. Going back and
Thank
forth.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim. Run.
I think that there are concerns about the aesthetics of it, but I feel that ACA has approved it, which kind of reassured me. I don't have a problem with the brick. The height's allowed, and obviously it's a need to the town. And, you know, I'm sorry to lose those two structures that are charming. But I think what we need is the emergency and the expansion.
I agree, and I think with volunteer fire departments, especially, like they're saving the town a ton of money just by not being on payroll, and I feel the only way that you get more people to volunteer is have the nicest stuff.
Yeah. I also think, I was thinking when the comment about tourism and people and visitors to Madison, to me, the fire department goes out of its way to have the trucks available and talk to people when they're walking by, and, you know, I see it as an asset, not as something that's
Yeah, I
gonna.
mean, I get the point, but it's it's just, it's a small downtown and it has a collection of odd buildings that have been created, eclectic buildings that have been established over the decades, century. I personally am not crazy about the way it looks. I think it's too much of a monolith. I think having a separation in the bricks and setting it back
Yeah,
will help, but it's still, for my taste, that's irrelevant. If ACA is going to say it's good, then I'll go with it. They're much more picky than I. Yeah, and my only original thought was the understanding the need for this. But if the current bays are so packed, then that slows down response time, and that's the part of what I have to get to.
Yeah,
And so
I
if this
can
allows
say
response time of 5 minutes, 3 minutes doesn't really matter. That's enough. That's enough reason.
And when the doors are open, my son knows that he can go into the fire department. So I've been in there a few times, and it's very, very tight right now.
I think pretty much in agreement. Could I have a motion? We have a draft approval.
Okay, I would move to approve.
I'll do it, Bob, since I'm.
Bob Reinhardt's gonna read the draft that we have, but thank you. You could second, Bob
Right.
O'Connor.
I'll second it, sure.
Okay. The following draft resolution is offered, voted that the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission approves application. Application number 25-04, 665 Boston Post Road, 677 Boston Post Road, and Boston Post Road, map 38, lot 88-1, map 38, lots 88, 89, and 81-1, zone D and DW. Owner, the Madison Post Company, Inc., applicant, Town of Madison Special Exception Permit Modification for Section 6.2.2.2I and Downtown Village District Major Alteration for Section 30.4.1A to demolish existing buildings at 677 Boston Post Road, merge parcels, and construct two-story addition to the expansion of existing fire station for additional apparatus bay and second floor municipal emergency operations center. Site improvements include replacement of septic system and minor regrading of the existing driveway as shown in architectural plans. Town of Madison Code Number 1, firehouse renovations and emergency operations center addition. 665-677 Boston Post Road by Silver, Petrocelli and Associates. Sheets A101 and A301-FA dated 1/8/25, revised to 1/17/25, and renderings Madison Emergency Operations Center, OPT 1, sheets 1 through 4, and civil drawings Madison EOC properties located at number 665 to 677 Boston Post Road, Madison Post Company number 1, by Crisculo Engineering LLC, sheets 1 through 5, dated 1/29/25, with sheets 3 and 4 revised to 2/24/25, with the following conditions. That the zoning enforcement officer be notified at least 48 hours prior to commencement of any regulated activity. 2, the lot merger map and any associated documents be filed on the Madison Land Records prior to the issuance of preliminary certificate of zoning compliance. 3, that all erosion and sedimentation controls be installed prior to any site disturbance and be maintained for the duration of construction activities until the site is sufficiently stabilized to satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer. 4, an as-built survey of all improvements shall be submitted to the zoning enforcement officer prior to the issuance of a final certificate of zoning compliance. 5, all site lighting shall be dark sky compliant at 3,000 K. In the event that changes to the approved plans are required as a result of other agency permitting to support the proposed activity, the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission reserves the right to review said changes and make required modifications of this approval. This approval is made based upon the finding that the public convenience and welfare of our community will be served by this new expansion of our downtown fire station and creation of a permanent emergency operations center. Proposed use is permitted in the district and all standards, prerequisites, and conditions of the regulations have been met. The proposed use is in accordance with the comprehensive plan. The effective date of this approval is March 20th, 2025, and upon filing of the certificate of special exception modification on the Madison Land Records.
Could I have a second then from Bob O'Connor? Great, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? And Janet is.
Thank you.
Quick, yeah, quick. Get that shovel up.
You guys make pretty good chili also.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is 25-02, 155 Over Shores Drive West, map 14, lot 10, zone R4, owner applicant Scott J. Taylor, estimated A. Taylor. It's a coastal site plan to install a seawall guardrail within 25 feet of a coastal resource. We've seen it before, but you're back again for this trailer.
Thank you. I'm Scott Taylor, I will sort of drive west. My application is a little bit simpler than theirs. I don't have any presentation, unfortunately.
We can pull up.
I'll pull your plans up for you, Scott.
Thanks. All I had was this little thing.
That's good.
But we, as you know, from prior applications, our house is right on the water. And we have a seawall. Oh, this is great. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have a seawall surrounding from here all the way through here. And what we want to do, this is about 163 feet from here to here. What we want to do is add cable railing from about here to there. This portion is about 18 feet. This portion's 11 and a half feet roughly. And this portion's about 70 feet, so 103 feet plus or minus in total. The plan is to use galvanized steel for the posts with a wood top. We've picked out a contractor. It's a local person, and we've actually. I went ahead. I know I took risks on this, but I went ahead and actually bought the cable railing out of fear of the tariffs, and so I just had it lined up because there was almost $12,000. But if anything needs to change, obviously I'll change. I'm not saying that for any pressure purposes, but this portion would be split into 235 feet sections for sturdiness, and then with each of the railings 5 feet apart. This portion is 18 feet with three railings, so each railing is about 4.5 feet apart. And there's actually a little sliver here that's about 3 feet as well. From here to here, it's about 11.5 feet. And the idea is to just use one railing to separate it, and the fence itself the cable railing itself is 3 feet high. As far as work goes, all the work is done right on top of the deck, all hand tools, no heavy equipment. Nothing's going to happen in the water or in the sand or anything. And Erin and her team have been very helpful with progressing this, and Deep approved it last week very quickly without any issues. And that's about it. I'm happy to answer any questions or.
How this two railings are spaced?
Pardon? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, right. The railings are 3.5 feet, 3.5 inches.
3.5 inches?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess
That's
there's,
the industry standard.
yeah, because I guess there's a test that you can't put something 4
That's correct.
inches. Yeah, so 3.5
Same
inches.
problem on ours.
Yeah.
Do you have any guardrails on it now? It's just a.
No, it's wide, it's wide open right now. Yeah, there's photos, yeah.
And it's concrete, so you're drilling down how far into the concrete?
Yeah, I should know that answer.
It might be on one of these.
It's,
I'm actually, don't know if it is. It might not
they're
be.
just anchored directly to
There's,
the
yeah,
concrete.
Oh, okay.
I should have probably I was thinking about bringing one, but that
That's-
would be awkward probably, but
Yeah.
they're just anchored straight to the seawall. And I'm not sure of the length of the bolts. I just talked to the contractor to make sure it was going to be safe because.
Right, in high winds and hurricanes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Any other questions? I mean, this is kind of the icing on the cake, I guess.
Yes.
Yes, so this, because it is on the seawall, it's a flood erosion control structure, the DEP required a certificate of permission, a COP for the wall, and it was required to go back to them for the authorization of the rails, because they're split and there's no impact. It's not considered a flood.
A barrier.
Right, in the velocity zone where you're getting that wave impact,
And that's been
it can
approved?
go right through.
And that's
Yes,
all.
we
Yes.
did
Yeah.
receive a copy of the deed approval.
Great. Any other questions?
Um,
Bob or Janet, any questions? In that case, do we have a motion?
The only level of my question is, you call it the Long Island Sound rather than the Connecticut Sound. Yeah, but I said it's a minor question.
Very funny.
Okay, could I have a motion
I'll do the
that
motion.
we accept? Go ahead. I think we have a draft.
Yes. Following draft resolution is offered. The Madison Planning and Zoning Commission approves application number 25-02, 155 Overshores Drive West, map 14, lot 10, zone 4, owner applicant Scott Taylor and Cynthia A. Taylor. Coastal site plan to install seawall guardrail within 25 feet of the coastal resources shown on the plan set. Scott and Cynthia Taylor seawall guardrail, 155 Overshores Drive West, by Race Coastal Engineering, sheets 1 through 6, dated January 8, 2025, with the following conditions. That one, that the zoning enforcement officer be notified at least 48 hours prior to commencement of any regulated activity. 2, that all work shall be conducted from and all machinery stored landward of the coastal jurisdiction line. 3, any areas temporarily disturbed during installation activity shall be restored to their condition prior to commencement of such work. In the event that changes to the approved plans are required as a result of other agency permitting to the proposed activity, the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission reserves the right to review such changes and may require modification of this approval. The commission finds that with the above referenced conditions, proposal is consistent with all applicable goals and policies in the Coastal Management Act and Section 25 of the Madison zoning regulations. No anticipated impacts to coastal resources are expected. The effective date of this approval is March 20th, 2025.
Thank you. Second? Max? Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay,
Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
it's yours.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Scott.
Take care.
Enjoy your
Thanks very
week.
much. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next,
For a beer.
You got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I kayak by there all the time, and I'll just wave.
Stop on by anytime.
It's a tight drive.
Next on the agenda, we have.
Take care, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night, Scott.
You're welcome, good night. We're in receipt of 25-05, 300 Green Hill Road and 351 Cops Road. This is for, this is the schools who are applying to convert from grass to synthetic turf, and this will be scheduled as a public hearing for April 17th, 2025. Do I need a motion to schedule that then?
Yes.
I have a motion to schedule the public hearing for, that's John Duza. Second, Bob Reinhardt, discussion. In favor? Okay, so that's a public hearing for April 17th, 2025. And on to approval of minutes with Secretary John Duza. We have 2 sets since we didn't get to any last.
July, February 6th, 2025 meeting. Attendance, Reinhardt, Snow, Morgan, Linda, Peckinpah, Connor, and Duza. Motion to approve. Carol? Second. Any edits, or corrections?
Short, sweet.
Raquel got right, it's good to me. Vote to approve. Okay, great. And for February 20th, my recollection is that that was the affordable housing forum.
Yes.
Yes.
And there was a nice summary, I mean, a nice, first of all, it appeared as a minutes, it was a good summary of the meeting, and then we also got the summary, but we're.
Oh, I looked at the summary, but I didn't see the minutes.
I didn't see the minutes.
Yeah,
we
yeah, I think it
hold-
was just a summary.
Should we hold off?
They're posted
Yeah, they're posted, you had to go,
to the
I didn't go get
agenda link.
My mistake.
they're a little longer than the summary, and with sort of how the meeting was.
it. Yes, I think I did.
Shall I, I'll come back to that next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Table.
Those are the minutes.
February 20th. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, no worries. Remarks then, Aaron, did you want to talk about the housing forum and the summary and next steps?
I sent you the summary. And I'll get that posted as well. I'm trying to figure out where the best place to post that on the website where it's most visible. And the date that the commission had for follow-up discussions will be on April 3rd, I believe.
Yep,
That's
April
our
3rd.
meeting night. And we're still working on, I think, the specific topics and location for that. So I
Be determined.
we should be able to post that
I just
next
wanna say,
week. And if not,
Janet, we had a great meeting. It was pretty
You're
much
on mute.
full house. In fact, I think we're a little bit over allowable. And, you know, and having commissioners sitting at each table, having hearing questions, answering questions, and, you know, sitting among our neighbors was a whole new experience. And I think it went really well. So thanks to everybody who participated in that. Yeah. And Aaron, thanks for your summaries, and I thought the minutes were great too.
Larry did a good job on the minutes
So,
too. She
yeah,
took nice
take a look
notes.
at the summary and,
I thought the minutes were the summary. Because they were so
well,
long.
they're pretty much the same,
So,
but
yeah, right.
the summary is a sort of cleaner version of how we can look at different topics and commonalities and how we prioritize what to address next. And I think we've talked about a little bit about having a session. The next session would be a little bit more structured, not just sort of open discussion and, you know, hearing how people feel about housing in Madison, but getting down to some of the specifics of where we might go from here. So keep that in mind as you read the summaries.
Yeah, I thought it was good to hear a lot of the questions. It lets you see what information needs to be shared with the public, what needs to be still gathered. And so, you know, a lot of the conversations, there were multiple tables saying the same thing. And so I that's not reflected in the summary. You know, I just kind of itemized one by one and just sorted them into, wants and desires, and some of them are kind of general, and we may need to get into them a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
And
you're right, there was, there was some misinformation, I think, that we tried to address at our tables, but sort of educational outreach is always a good idea.
yeah, quite a number of questions,
Yeah.
which I think is good. And I expect that. I think the whole point was really to kind of listen and
Yeah.
start hearing what people are looking for. And I think if you continue to have community conversations like this, then you're going to be bringing residents along before you've fashioned any regulations or any, you're going to be guided by the community on what types of housing, and then you can show them how you can achieve that. What are the options to achieve that? So this is a very early stages, but
First step.
I was pleased.
I like the presentation about what other towns had done. That was really interesting.
We were a little concerned that he was focusing on more affordable than just sort of general housing.
Yeah,
But,
that's true too.
but the architectural examples I thought were really good
Yeah.
and important to see what other towns, and also to know that our consultants who are helping us have traveled all around the state and seen what's working.
Right,
That's good.
definitely.
Yeah.
So, and just the question that you had just now about where to put the information.
Yes.
We have an opportunity to, since it's policy G and P O C D, should we put it on the P O C D page or put it on the P and Z page as policy G information? With the idea that we can then start doing that for the other policies as we try to get them
It's not bad.
executed.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea to
Kind of
break
shows
it out
that
that
we're making some
way.
kind of progress.
As long as it's easy to find. The other thing I thought was just a general housing page that
Yeah, it could
then
be.
kind of tied in the
Policy
other
G,
pieces
the
of
link
the
could be
puzzle.
housing
From the
page, yeah.
POCD and
The
put it on the
structure, I
housing.
think, is,
Yeah.
you guys can do that, but
We could link it back.
I think you could
call
create
out that this is the P O C D, policy G in action, we're trying to do something.
Implementation.
Then the other thing, so if that, okay, I'll leave that
Okay.
for you to think about. The other thing is we assign the Affordable Housing Committee as lead entity. After having gone through the first meeting and discussions, I'd like to reconsider that because this is not affordable housing, this is housing. And their mandate is very specific. And they should be a partner entity and represent that and lobby for that. But if they're the driving force, we are basically saying we're developing an affordable housing action plan and not a housing plan, so we're fighting against ourselves.
All right.
And I came out in that meeting to some extent, so I'm not sure who,
How we do that.
Well, we have an affordable housing plan.
Yeah, I know.
And so, which is the Affordable Housing Committee's charge to help implement that
Right.
plan. But I think you're absolutely correct. In the scope of zoning regulations, completely your authority
it's
to
us.
create those policies.
Yeah.
There will be supporting entities, affordable housing will be in there, economic development, perhaps a board of selectmen if there's ordinance related things. So
Maybe we should be the lead entity and affordable housing be, because they actually own number 3.
I have to look at that. I didn't pull it up.
I hadn't really thought about it until just now.
Yeah, well, now.
But housing in
now that we're
general-
Actually implementing it, we're gonna
Yeah.
have thoughts like this
Yeah,
and
I
see
think-
things like this.
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I also like one of my takeaways from the meeting or the forum was the definition in this specific case of affordable.
Yeah.
I think was pretty undefined. At least like most folks who stood up and talked, it was pretty clear that was the consensus. So I think this is like a very sensitive topic and one that people are going to feel strongly about. Like an affordable needs to be defined because to your point, affordable committee, they're going to have that's a different definition than what we're looking at.
Yeah, we're looking
Bob
at how.
O'Connor has his hand up too.
No, I'm just really, just a couple of points. I think we all agree that, boy, the vibe was good. And we very much appreciated that people listened, but I think also at the end going out, there's a question of what do we do next? And I think, Bob, your comments are well taken, that whether we like it or not and look at housing needs, the housing needs for wealthy folks who want to buy a single family home on a couple of acres, spending $1 million, they can find that. The other types of needs for people who want to downsize, etc. So that heads us, whether we like it or not, toward affordable housing, broadly understood.
Yeah, we need to clarify it.
Yeah, affordable housing is a piece of the solution.
Yes.
But the problem we're still trying to understand. And I
Yep.
thought today's discussion about
Yeah,
the why and who we're trying to do this for was very helpful to me.
yeah, good.
Yes.
Now we can start working on that.
Points, thanks. Parents making notes, that's good. All right, if there's nothing else to discuss, remark upon, can I have a motion to adjourn? Should we vote that in a second? John Duva, any discussion? All in favor? We are adjourned at 8:01. Good job.
Not bad.
Impressive.
Can I talk to Max?
Yeah, Jana, I was gonna talk to you once they stop recording.
Oh my God, are you Max that I knew as a little boy in West Hartford?
Wait, I stopped recording, yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, sorry. Are we off recording? Max, is your mother Julie?
Yeah, yes, I didn't think you remember me at all.
Oh my God, I remember you when you were
I know, I was so
so
excited.
small.
I was so excited when I saw your name on the planning and zoning.
I'm so excited.
Is Alex?
Yes,
living in
Alex,
Madison?
Alex moved here from Europe, moved back from Europe with his wife who's German, and they have 2 little kids, and they're living right now at the Bradley because we can't find him housing. So I'm looking for housing that I can possibly build an ADU on, so I can live, in the housing, so we can afford to get him into Madison.
Yeah, no, it's small world.
Oh, I'd love for you guys to get together.
Absolutely. How old are his kids?
He has a almost 3-year-old and 3-month.
Oh, no way. Yeah, mine are 3 and 2.
Oh, let's get you guys together.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, it's a small world.
Oh, when I saw you, I went, oh, I just flashed back to when you were a little boy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they didn't think I was going to be on the Planning and Zoning Commission, and here we are 20 years later.
Oh, God, I love it. Please give my love to your parents.
I know I will. My mom, they're still in West Hartford, so they come down all the time. So
Oh,
but yeah, I'm excited. I was very happy to see that you were a familiar face.
Oh, I'm so excited. Well, we will get together soon, and I'll tell Alex as soon as we get off today. I'll tell him.
You know where to find me every 2 weeks here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're bringing West Hartford to Madison.
I know, right? Small world. Good to see you.
Great to see you, and welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited
Yeah.
about this.